Hey everybody, my name is Justin Longo. I'm the Director of Communications for FreedomWorks, and with me to have a conversation today is Mr. Taylor Reed. Taylor, thank you for joining me for this conversation. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
I want to dig into your past and talk about your present, but let's start with the present. Uh, where are you? What do you do? What's your line of work? And let's start to where you're at today.
My name is Taylor. I own Reed Painting. We service homeowners in both commercial and residential spaces here in Montana for painting and Venetian plaster needs. We do some renovation work as well that we're licensed for, and we've been operating here. I've had a contractor's license for 8 years now here in Montana. I grew up on job sites with my father, who's an incredibly skilled craftsman, as are the rest of my siblings, especially my brother. So I've been in a group of tradespeople ever since I was 8 years old on job sites with him. And I was always in and around paint. One of the first jobs I had outside of working with my father was I painted backdrops for photographers for their photo shoots. So I had a little bit of the artistic side, and then I had some amazing teachers in the paint space, and eventually started my own company. During COVID, we really started to take off, and we started going direct business to consumer instead of business to subcontract. And that's when we really started to grow. So that's kind of a quick 360 view.
Your outreach, your marketing is on socials. What does that look like? How are you doing that? You're going direct to customers, like pitching yourself, I guess, so to speak, to customers. What does that look like?
So on social, we're on multiple platforms. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. There are other platforms, and I plan on getting on them. However, my ability to market on them is limited by my understanding of the platform because not all platforms are the same. So, for example, YouTube, the demographic is something like 80% male. Pinterest, it's swapped as like 80% female. So my demographic is women from the ages of 40 to 60 because women make up 70 to 80% of the buying power in the household when decisions are made about renovations and remodel, which is a large majority of our work. So I'm on platforms specifically targeting my demographic, the clientele that I work with, specifically homeowners. We do some commercial, but we tailored our social now, and I'll kind of get to before, but we tailor that now based on those platforms. And what I found is a lot of people are saying, hey, we're getting much more organic reach on TikTok, like a lot. This was, I want to say, again, like 2020, 2021, when we had just really started to take off that we hopped on that platform.
Mhm.
And we started using it. We got a lot better as creators, my wife and I on the platforms, and we will market direct. So we have both paid and organic reach. The vast majority of it is organic reach. So what that looks like is we'll post out before and afters. We'll post out educational content. So we ended up, developing a triangle of content. We have education, we have personal authenticity because you get to see me behind the camera and what I'm doing. There is no gatekeeping. And then you'll have some forms of entertainment. If we find a video comical, we'll explain, laugh about it and then explain what's being done wrong. Again, education piece. So we have a triangle of content that we've created. So we'll post out that content. People will see it. That's the organic reach. They'll then comment, they'll message us, we'll message them back. People will see that and then want to use our products or services. And I find that the more honest you are, the more authentic you are, the more trust that you build. Everyone on social tries to put out the best version of themselves. And I think that's very unauthentic. Everyone wants to show off their vacation, their house, their car, what have you. People buy a lot of stuff to impress people they don't know and don't care about. And I find that the more authentic we are with content creation about both the wins and the losses, and we get rid of the gatekeeping, that's really expanded our reach on social, and it's really built a cool community online. And my closing rate increased 10% that month, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's like a $10,000 difference. That's huge to me because my closing rate was only like 30% at the time, given my pricing. It immediately jumped to 40%. So if you have 10 leads coming in,
Wow.
we'll assume qualified leads. We jump 10%. We close that job. That might be a week, 2 weeks of work. It really affects our bottom line because the net usually in construction is between 15 to 30% after everything is said and done, just depending on your demographic and where you're at. So it was an immediate increase for us, which is huge when we're starting because it's just me and my wife and like one to two other people that come and help me.
What do you think your business would look like if you couldn't use socials? I mean, how would you get the word out? Would you be taking like ads out in the newspaper or something?
Yeah, it's I think that's a really important question that everyone has to ask themselves, especially as there's potential bans around certain platforms, and there's uneasiness around advertising on certain platforms. X is fairly new comparatively. Now it's been taken over, by different companies. So like there's things that are a little bit up in the air that we're trying to navigate as content creators. And it's really about where the attention is at. Currently, the arbitrage rate on social for free organic content is massive. So that's where we're at. Where would you be roughly if you didn't have access to social, which is so big in construction? And there's a lot of controversy in trade right now because there's a lot of people that are very frustrated because in the last 5 years, the ability to get your name out and start your own company and to do your own work is open to everybody now because all the information you could possibly need is online. I would argue it's more so on certain platforms than others. That being said, you don't have to work for a company for 10 to 15 years to acquire knowledge, hoping that that person that you're working for also is a master in their craft, and then to build connections in order to go out on your own. That's not there. You can start today if you wanted to, even with no knowledge, explain that to the homeowner and be like, hey, I'm starting a painting company. I'm learning as I go. I'm going to charge you accordingly. Are you comfortable with this? I'm learning. And you can document your whole process and learn that way. And you can absolutely do that today. I'm not going to recommend it. I think you should have experience with another company. But for the trades, it's really frustrating for some people that have been working for 10 to 15 years and have tried to make it on their own. Someone has been doing it for 5 and is now farther along than they are simply because they've taken advantage of social. So what it's allowed smaller companies to do is compete with larger companies because you're able to reach to consumer in a way that you couldn't before.
Right.
For example, the largest painting company in my area has been around in business 3 times longer than I've been alive. So everybody knows them. They're known across the entire state. I cannot possibly compete with them on that scale if I do not have a way to level the playing field. And social does just that. So I 100% would in no way, shape, or form be where I'm at comparatively because there's no way to compete on that scale, that timeline. The referral network is insane. It's almost a household name here in where I'm at. So that is so key in social. Companies are able to get reach that they could not before in any way, shape, or form.
It totally gets rid of the middleman. You are
100%.
speaking directly to consumer. One video goes viral, like you said, you got a million views on one, and that's a million potential customers and a million people that now have you've imbued a sense of trust with a million people, which is, I mean, how else can you possibly do that? It is truly remarkable.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a killer tool for small business.
how often are you hitting million view videos these days? Is this like a regular occurrence now, or is this like a once in a blue moon type thing?
So my strategy has nothing to do with going viral. So many people go, I want a viral video. And I think that that is a poor strategy, to be honest. And what really changed my mind around this is there is a local artisan who is amazing with concrete countertops, concrete sinks. The guy's amazing, good friend of mine. And I think he has something like 3,500 or 4,000 followers on Instagram. But all of those followers are key builders, key designers, people that use his product and are willing to pay. So if the video gets 1,000 views, it's 1,000 views of people in an exact demographic that makes sense. So
Mm.
the pure view count is not the only thing that matters. Neither is purely the following count. So I care less about if a video gets a million views and more about consistently is my content being watched. So over the course of a month, am I doing 100,000 views? Am I doing 500,000? Am I doing a million, 5 million, what have you? And it goes up and down based on the content. If I'm not putting out good content, I would expect the views to drop. So you have to be cognizant of that as a creator. And it's much more important to me that that gross amount over a 30, 60, 90-day period to kind of answer your
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like you said, it can be quality over quantity. You know, the eyeballs matter, who those eyeballs are, right?
absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Taylor Reed. It was
Absolutely.
lovely chatting with you. Um, good luck in the future. You're crushing it. It sounds like you're super crushing it.
Thank you.
Very much appreciate your time.
You're awesome, Justin. Appreciate you.